So, hi guys, again we're here today with Marc who is a nutrition specialist, but today we are going to talk about something different. So, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, so finding what your limiting factor is that's holding you back from the success that you need to have, perhaps in nutrition, but it's applicable to pretty much every single area of your life.
Okay, so can you maybe tell us a personal story about like something that was limiting you and what, like, let's say what the problem was, where you're at right now, and how you overcame that problem?
Sure. So over the last year, I've been doing improvisational acting, and I have tons of fun on stage now. We just finished up our last show of the year last Tuesday. You know, people were applauding and all that stuff. And the first time that I went out there though, earlier on this year, I was fucking shitting my pants. I was like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm going on stage. What the hell am I doing? This is absolutely stupid. And I had so much anxiety. I felt like cold sweat coming down my back. And I was like, what are all these people going to think of me? And I realized that the limiting factor to me doing good improvisational acting on stage was getting comfortable with people just watching whatever it was I was doing. It doesn't matter how stupid I thought it was or they thought it was. Just go out there, focus. Like I'm here talking to you right now. The audience isn't even there. Doesn't even matter. And so the way that I overcame that was I basically did it week by week in an environment that supported my success. I had people who were doing it with me. And so I had a positive community that helped support that. And then I continued doing it week after week, week after week. And so now it's been a year of doing improv. And now, right before I went on stage, I didn't feel a thing. I wasn't even thinking about the audience. The only thing going through my head was, how do I give these people the best damn show possible? And how do I help the people who I'm on stage with do a really good show? Complete opposite.
Wow, that's amazing. And actually, I think you have like a funny story of how you even got into this. Like, I mean, how did you even sign up for the improv? Like, what's the story behind it?
Right, so we have a mutual friend of ours on Skyrocket, and it was a dare. And I was like, all right, basically, he said, Mark, oh, you're a list planner, you're organized, all that kind of stuff, and, why don't you do something to get outside your comfort zone? And I said, all right, cool. What do you have in mind? And he's like, you should do improv. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I signed up for one course. Actually, no, for just one free workshop. And I was like, this scares me. But anytime I get to a place where something is making me uncomfortable, that means it's outside my comfort zone. And so if I want to become comfortable in that thing, I need to do it more so that I can expand my comfort zone. And so because Jared basically dared me to go do improv, he's like, you should totally do it. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Didn't you even sign up for the competition before you went to our first class or something like that?
Yes. So before I even finished my first 8 weeks of improv, you have a show at the end of every 8 weeks. And some other friends in the class were signed up for an improv competition, and they're like, Mark, you should totally do this. And I was like, okay. It's just like, all right, let's do it. And I was sweating the first time I went out there. But I got through it, and I kept doing it. And then bit by bit, I got better.
And how does it make you feel right now? I mean, when you look back at the days when you were like shy and introverted and like just organized all the time, and like how does it make you feel now when you're here like full of energy, extroverted, like making jokes and talking to people with this? Like, how does that make you feel right now?
It feels good, and strangely enough, calm. There's a concept called via negativa. Have you read Anti-Fragile?
No.
So really good book. And sometimes things are defined by their opposite. And so they say confidence is the absence of fear. And so rather feeling, oh, I'm pumped up and, you know, like I can conquer the world, it's just, no, I'm cool. I'm chill. You know, and so that's kind of how I feel most of the time thanks to improv. I'm okay, I'm level, I'm not distracted. And I like that.
That's actually a really similar concept in poker. Like when you're super focused at something, it's not that like you reach your A game or you reach a super high level of focus, but it's that you remove all of the other distractions, all of the other thoughts. So it's like basically it's a natural state that we're supposed to be in, but we have so many of the other things, right, that are stopping them.
Right.
So it's not like we're trying to reach our natural state, we have to take things away from it to reach it. So that's what you're talking about,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I totally agree with that.
Great. So like if someone was about to go about like tackling his limiting beliefs, what is the exact process, like the framework that you can give them that they can follow to actually do that? Like what would be the first steps?
Okay, first you need to identify what the limiting belief is, because then if you don't know what it is, how are you going to tackle it?
How can you do that? Like can you give us some ways of like identifying what it is?
What scares the shit out of you? Step one. Once you know what that is, when does it happen?
Okay.
And then once you can figure out when it happens, then you can then move into saying, okay, you start to identify what the triggers for the fear is. And then once you know what the fear triggers are, if you will, then you can start to address them.
Okay, great. So once you identify the things, like what's the process that you follow later on?
Sure.
Like,
so first thing you've identified it. Now you need to go through something that you might call progressive desensitization. And all that is do the shit a lot. You know, it's like, oh, you're scared about getting punched in the face? Put yourself in a situation where you might get punched in the face a lot. But do it in a safe environment so that your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that starts to activate every single time you see something that reminds you of something else, it no longer sends off the fear response. You know, instead now it's just like, oh, this is normal. And that's okay. That's what you want to do.
Okay, great. So if we just do like one key takeaway from this video, like what's something that the people who are listening to this video can start doing tomorrow to implement this framework? Like what would be exactly like the first step, one thing that they can do today right after watching this video?
Write down the top 3 things that scare you. Pick the one that is not the most terrifying, but the lesser of all of them, so that you can test this out. And then ask yourself, how could you put yourself in a situation where you could expose yourself to that in a safe environment?
Yeah, that's really great. And I really like that you said that you shouldn't pick the scariest one, because I think like this is just one of those things where it's a skill that you have to develop, right? And you can practice on the things that are a bit less scary, but then you can move on and on and on to tackle even the scariest things in your life, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Thank you, Marc, so much for your time.
Yeah.
This was Primoz from highstakesmaster.com. If you like the video, sign up to the email list, which is on the website, and you will get more of these videos.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.